just celebrated 3.5 years sobriety. Thank you. But I'm going through my first breakup in sobriety. Newsflash, feels exactly the same. All the same feelings. Nothing's changed. I thought she was a really positive influence on my life. She was a hardcore vegan, kept her body in order. The fucked up part about it all, now that she's gone, I still primarily eat vegan. I'm so paranoid to eat a piece of steak because in the back of my head I'm thinking, oh, if she finds this out, she might never come back. Oh, man. It sucks. But just to give you guys some backstory, she left her husband of 5 years to be with me on a whim, just like that. This guy was an ex-Navy SEAL. He made $80,000 to $100,000 a year, paid all of her bills. She left that guy to move in with me in my room at my parents' house. I was like, holy shit, this is true love. It's got to be. No, man. It was one of the many red flags I ignored right out the gate. You do dumb shit when you're, thinking shit's for real. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I'm 3.5 years into recovery. So I have to come to terms with the facts that I ruined a marriage for no reason, guys. No reason at all. That's on my conscience. And I have to reach out to her ex-husband one day and apologize, guys. Yeah, that's something I have to do. How the fuck am I going to do that? I could make $1 billion, pay this dude's rent for an entire year straight, rent him a private island in the Bahamas, maybe buy him a Ferrari, show up on his doorstep and be like, hey, man, I got 24 big-titted bitches on payroll ready to suck your dick every hour on the hour for the next 365 days straight. Here's the keys to your new ride. Catch. Are we good? We good? I'm sorry. You're just going to look at me and be like, you fucked my wife! Guys, I don't think I can do it. He's going to beat the shit out of me. He's an ex-Navy SEAL, man. I'm going to wind up missing. They're going to put my face on a milk carton. Then my ex-girlfriend's never going to know what happened to me, guys. She's a vegan. She doesn't drink milk. So if that does happen, for any reason, almond milk, guys. All right? Make sure I end up on the almond milk. But yeah, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can reach out to him. I have to make a living amends. And if you don't know what a living amends is, basically all I have to do is just never fuck that guy's wife again, guys. That's all I got to do. And I'll be solid. All right, thank you, guys. My name's Nick Romero. Appreciate it.
And that's when I was like, no, I'm not going to put that in my mouth. You know what I mean? It was really, oh, man, my uncle. Anyways, so Nick, welcome to Sunday Morning Sessions. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. This is really cool.
So we just saw you do some comedy. How long have you been doing comedy?
I've only been doing it for a year, man.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And prior to that, you were doing a lot of music stuff, right?
Yeah, prior to that, I was 15 years in music, man.
What?
Yeah.
It's weird because I went to Bishop Montgomery in Torrance, and you went to West High.
Yeah, right up the street.
And I feel like we probably would have ran into each other at like backyard shows, just because that was kind of my scene. It was kind of your scene.
I mean, we've talked about that. We have. We
yeah.
just didn't
have no idea when or where.
Yeah, when or where. But we knew all the same bands and all the same people, and knew the come up for each individual and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
So as a musician and now as a comic, what are like some cool similarities or like some like huge differences that you find between both scenes? Because they can be kind of similar, but also it's a very different jam.
The work ethic is exactly the same. Mm-hmm. It's just it's a lot easier to manage because you're not having
comedy?
For comedy because you're not having to juggle 4 other personalities and like get everybody to practice on time or like make sure that your guys' schedules line up so that you can go do shows. Like you don't have to lug equipment. That's great. You just show up and you do your time and you're out.
Well, like now, if something pops up and like someone's like, "Hey, we have a show tonight. You know, can you come through and do some time?" As a solo comic individual, I can be like, "Yeah, I'm not booked. Let's go." But as a band, if someone hits you up and they're like, "Oh, do you want this gig tonight?" Everyone's like, "Wait, what do you there's 5 of us. How are we gonna bring this? Can we use your car? Can we use it?" And it is a little more of a headache, especially when you go on tour, because it's not just like, "Oh, where do you guys want to eat?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
tour
"All right,
sucks.
cool. Where can we?"
Tour has always sucked. Like having to pack into a van with 4 other sweaty dudes and like no showers and stuff like that, it gets pretty bad
Do you have
after a while.
really bad tour story? What was like the worst experience on the road for you as a musician?
Okay, so the van that we had when I was like touring actively,
Yeah.
it had no okay, so it was middle of summer. We had no AC in the van.
All the candy was melting for all the children.
Dude, no radio. And the insulation on the top of the van was like fucked up and falling down. And I was a singer. So I was constantly sick and like dried out from like this like foam crap that was constantly the van had
asbestos-y kind of stuff?
like just whatever the layer is between like the roof, like the padding
You should see a doctor.
was just
I don't know
falling.
if that
Oh dude,
should-
I might have something.
Yeah,
for sure.
I feel like that's definitely
Cancer,
a
for sure.
toxic thing in your
But
body.
the van also had roaches. So if you were
You shouldn't refer to your bandmates as roaches. I'm just saying it's not the nicest thing. Well, maybe you should. I don't know them.
So just that, you know, like the having to be traveling east
Yeah.
consistently in summer is just brutal, and like having like X amount of clothing and having to do the flip the boxers inside out, and then
Yeah.
eventually you're not wearing the boxers at all anymore.
I do a thing now where I won't pack socks. I just, whenever I get there, I'll buy like a 12-pack of socks. And
That's a good
I'm
idea.
just going to wear these till they go out. I heard a story from, I just went on the road with this other comic who, he's a little bit older, and he was saying that Jay Leno used to buy underwear like that. Like he would wear the underwear he's wearing, but he would buy all the underwear when he got to a place.
Really?
Then he would just throw it out after the weekend. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true.
When?
What a great story.
Yeah, in the 70s.
Yeah, I guess
Like
so. in the
Jay Leno
80s.
doesn't tour.
Yeah. And he has like a giant Maserati tour bus now.
Yeah,
He's
just,
still like, no, I'm gonna buy underwear when I get there. We don't have the space. So do you have a favorite spot that you performed in, either comedy or music wise? What would you say is like the top city, top even like country? You're like, oh, that was a dope time.
You know what's really cool? I always had a good time with music touring through Barstow, California.
Barstow's fun.
Always got
ever do the
treated
pit stop?
really well. Like really well.
Yeah.
The pit stop? No,
Yeah,
we did
the pit stop bar.
we would do Gustos and Shooters.
I don't know.
And then
either of
we
those.
did a place called Club Inferno one time. And that was like
Ooh.
a big venue, which was really cool. And I just the people out there are so they're just psyched about
Yeah.
music. It's so different out here. Like nobody cares in LA. You know, you're doing music, there's 500.
Well, we just have so many artists out here that it's like the value of a show is like, oh, we could just go to another one.
Yeah,
or-
nobody
yeah.
cares. You know what I mean? And but when you go literally anywhere outside of LA, like a different state, kids are stoked
Yeah.
about music, and they show up in droves.
I have a quick Barstow story, or 2 quick Barstow stories. There's these 2 producers. Their names were Buck and Chuck. Buck and Chuck ran comedy shows at a Barstow, and they booked me at a steakhouse.
Really?
And I've never seen a steakhouse that lit. Because it was like a fancy-ish steakhouse, but people were like partying and raging, and they were in shots. I'm like, this is not your average Black Angus. The second time I was booked in Barstow, we actually went to a bowling alley. It may have been a similar one that you're talking about, but a bowling alley where they didn't tell us, but kids showed up.
Okay.
Because there's like not a lot to do there. So if you see a comedy show, it's like, oh, we have a venue and kids are here. So you had to do like 30 minutes clean in front of kids. And they didn't tell us kids were going to be there. And they didn't tell us we were doing 30 when we got there.
Wow.
So I was like,
That's so funny. That's every Monday I run a show in Hermosa Beach at Tower 12 on
Yeah.
the pier, and there's always children right at the start of the show. So I have to go up to parents and be like, "Hey, we're about to like talk about like pussies and stuff. You
Yeah.
should get them out of
and
here."
not your kids. You know what I mean?
Anytime I have a female comedian booked on the show, I'm like, "Oh my God, she's about to like totally educate these children in a minute."
One of my favorite things about Tower 12 is I did it a couple of weeks ago, and it's cool because like the performer, the comic is right here, and then there's this front area, but there's like side area, you know what I mean, on the right,
Yeah.
of people who like didn't know a show was going on. They just showed up for food,
And they're eating
so
dinner.
it'll be like an anniversary or like, you know what I mean, like 2 guys like meeting up from wherever, and they're just like, what the shit is happening right now? And they end up having a good time. It's always like, whoo.
Yeah, I remember that. I had you host one of the nights, and you just came up and you were you did your entire first 15 minutes just going up to the table and eating somebody else's food.
Yeah, he had very spicy hot wings, and I regret it. Well, it was right after like Brody Stevens passed away.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was like a ton. I was watching a ton of Brody Stevens that day, so I almost kind of like, I don't want to say like channeled him or maybe like was inspired by him, but I was like in this like rut of like, oh, yelling, oh, being passionate, oh, being intense, and I was like, I'm gonna do that tonight.
It was hilarious.
And then I burned my mouth on some chicken wings. So it's really exciting that you're on here. I'm so glad you got to perform. But you're not only performing here, you're performing all over. So what are some cool spots? I know you do a lot of stuff in the South Bay. Where can people find you? What are your plugs?
Tower 12, Mondays. I run Manic Mondays comedy show on Hermosa Pier. I also run on Sundays tonight, actually, at Hey 19 in Torrance. We have a pretty cool lineup.
Nice.
I book that every Sunday night, and also Thursdays at Hermosa Saloon. I run a show every week. And in May, what month are we in right now? Are we still in
This will
April?
probably come out
End of April?
Insert month here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, May 22nd, I'm going to be at St. Rock and Hermosa Beach with Kate Quigley and Brad Williams,
Word.
which is going to be really
That's a hell of
cool.
a lineup.
Also, May 29th, Kate Quigley, and she had mentioned, we haven't booked the headliner yet, but she had mentioned a few names, and I don't want to name drop what they are, but it's going to be another like big...
Sinbad, Kate Quigley, Nick Romero, and Sinbad. One lineup, one night. Check it out. Nick, thank you so much for being on the
thanks,
show.
man.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
I've done all of his rooms, and they're all absolutely amazing. They're super funny, so definitely check it out if you're in the South Bay or beyond the South Bay. You just want to check out a good show. This has been Sunday Morning Sessions. I'm Eric. Nick Romero was our guest. Thanks for watching.
So I used to work in a restaurant for a while in Redondo Beach, and one day a homeless man came in begging for change on our patio, and I work with all girls. I worked with all girls at this restaurant, and they all turned to me and they were like, "Nick, go get him out of here." And I was like, "You sure you got the right guy? I don't think I'm him. I'm not a tough guy." Guys, I did musical theater my whole life growing up, okay? I'm not going to be intimidating. Like, I wouldn't know what to do if a fight broke out. What do I go snapping up West Side Story? Like, you got to go. Maybe kick him out of there? I don't think that's me. But they were like, "Come on, you're the only dude here." I was like, debatable. Danielle used to be Daniel, but we don't talk about that anymore. Danielle heard me. She came up. She put me in a headlock. She was like, "Go get him, pussy." I was like, "Oh, fine." I tapped out. She's like, Jesus. Even your arm hair has 5 o'clock shadow. So, yeah, I walked up very politely to this guy. Very politely, I said, "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I can't have you begging for change. We're running a business here." And without skipping a beat, he looked me dead in the face and said, "Get off my land, Mexican." Yeah. 2 things went through my mind at that moment. One, you can't be homeless and racist, dude. You got to pick one, right? Figure it out. And 2, how the fuck did that guy know I was Hispanic? So I said to the guy, I was like, "Sir, actually, I'm Spanish." He was like, "Yeah, that's what I said, Mexican." I was like, "No, wrong again, sir. Wrong again." I don't know if you remember this, but we actually discovered this land back in 1492, so you're welcome, sir. And when we got off the boats, we actually saw the Native Americans running around having a good time, the grass growing wild to the sky, and all we thought was, we got to do something about this landscaping. So we had sweet, sweet sex with the Native Americans, and we made you guys some Mexicans. You're welcome for your groomed lawns, everybody. You're welcome. Yeah. So I turned to this guy and I was like, "Sir, now if you were a contributing member of society, a homeowner, or a father perhaps, you'd probably be thanking me for all that my people have contributed over the years. All the upkeep, the maintenance on anything house-related, car-related, not to mention the nanny that would be helping raise your child, instilling strict Catholic moral beliefs while teaching them to read and write bilingually so that they'd never be in this fucking predicament that you're in, sir. Now, before I have to call the authorities and have Officer Gutierrez and Gonzalez escort you off the premises, will you kindly get the fuck out of my restaurant, you racist prick? Jesus. You guys, usually people applaud at that, but, Where are we right now? We're in the South Bay? Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of racists here. Everybody's like, no, those Mexicans got to go. Get them out. Build the wall. Don't do it, guys. Don't build the wall, because China built a wall, and there's foreigners walking all over it to this day, guys. It doesn't work. All right, thanks, guys. My name's Nick Romero.
You have been watching Sunday Morning Sessions. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Erik Escobar.
My name is Dremagix.
And we really appreciate everything that you are watching and subscribing to. Hey, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow, share our stuff. Either way, we had a great time having Nick Romero on today, and we had a great time looking at you through the screen.